Hello, I'm Drthalnos and welcome back to another episode in our little tutorial series. Today we're going to be looking at the roofs of different buildings here. Now, to start off with, as you probably know, that you should never build roofs out of solid blocks. You should always favour stairs. So as we can see here, if we make it out of solid blocks, it gives the roof a rather bulky feel. So we'll try and avoid that at all costs. Unless you're doing an absolutely immense build, then it wouldn't be noticeable, but still you should always try and use stairs. Secondly, as we can see here, these stairs make a peak in the roof. It's an uneven number of blocks here, so we have the middle here, which is an actual block, and we have a slab at the top here. Now, as you can see, this looks a little bit artificial and looks rather less good than the next build that we have here. That's because we have no overlap on the side here. If you make the stairs overlap, it makes the roof look a little nicer. It doesn't look like it's just coming straight out of the walls and continuing. So that looks a little bit artificial and a little bit strange. If we move on to the next build, see we have a peaked roof here, like we've done roofs in the builds. And this is a roof that actually, here's the end of the wall, and then the next block we extend 1, and then 2, and then the slabs that are at the top here we extend 3. Now, as you can see with most of these builds, it doesn't actually matter if you do a pair or unpair number of blocks to begin with. So, for example, here we have 5 blocks, and we have an unpaired number, and in the middle here we can have slabs. On the next one you can see that we can actually have stairs in the middle that join together, and they both look perfectly good. The slabs one looks a little bit better than the stairs, but if you accidentally build your room larger, so the pair number, and you find this out right at the end of the build, it doesn't particularly matter, or whilst you're building the roof, it doesn't have a huge effect. So as you can see, of course, all the walls I did with the same patterns that we saw last week, with the biological or natural feel for both of those, the more aged feel for this, and then biological for the rest. I'll just turn that off. And I added flowers around the edges. Now I have changed shaders in between the last 2 videos because they were rather dark, and on YouTube makes everything even darker than it actually is. So we've gone for a different type of shaders. I've actually started hiding some lighting around here. So as you can see here, we've hidden the lighting under carpet blocks, and carpet blocks actually let the light out, as opposed to stone slabs here, which don't let the light out. So if you have slabs, for example, if I put the block back on here and we go into F3, you can see the block light, which is next to the planes, is at 13 here, and it goes to 11. But the visual aspect of the light doesn't stay, whereas here, if you have carpets, the visual aspect remains even if you've got a carpet over it. Or, of course, you can use a different sort of lighting, which is torches on cobblestone fences, which I find rather nice. In these sort of builds, I haven't done it there. Is there one over here? No, there isn't. But on these builds here, we have nice cobblestone fences with torches on them, or you can put the torches directly on the walls, but on the fences it gives them a little bit of support. Now, another good thing about building roofs out of stairs is that you can make them turn around corners. So here we have a building that isn't perfectly square or rectangular or anything like that. It's actually 3 wide here, then goes to 2 wide, and we actually have a turn in the building. Now, if you don't want to have holes in your roof or make your roof look rather strange, you can actually use the relatively good feature of the stairs, which is when you put 2 next each other of them, they actually curve around like that, which is very useful. So I've done the same sort of thing, and this isn't a pair number of blocks, as you can see, because we've got 2 here, and then this actually gets wider here, so we have slabs in the middle, and it works quite well. You can just go around the edge here. You can see we've got a part of the roof that continues on straight for the 3 wide part here, and which is at a 90 degrees angle on this part, and it doesn't look cobbled together or anything like that. It's relatively good. So if you had blocks, it would look rather strange, because you wouldn't have such a nice transition between the 2 different parts of the building. Again, I've hidden the lighting underneath, and we've gone for the cracked stone bricks and cobblestone here, with a few plants around, the orchids and the daisies there, and little bits of cobblestone which also make it look rather nice, which is as if it was a little bit of a garden. It's got some mossy cobblestone there. And finally, the different type of roof, which is circular roofs, where you can have, for example, a tower here. This is 3 blocks, then a block, then 3 blocks. If we actually build it, it's the base of the tower is just 3 blocks like this, then a block, then 3 blocks, then a block, then 3 blocks, then a block, and then 3 blocks, which is the basic tower sort of build, circular. If you make it bigger, it does get a little bit more complicated. But here you can see I've gone around the edges with netherrack steps. Actually, I probably should turn that off, shouldn't I? I've gone around the edges with netherrack steps here, and then we've got netherrack blocks, steps, and blocks. If you just have the steps, the roof doesn't look particularly tall. It makes a rather flat roof, and the roof would end about this height here. So it makes it a little bit crushed as a roof. So if you actually intertwine 2 different types of blocks, so you've got stairs, blocks, and top here blocks with a flag. That's just aesthetic. But the stairs actually curve around the edges, and then you can go like that. So these have been different, if you want to see the inside, but it's just like this. I haven't done anything about the inside of the buildings really, but these have been different tips and advice on how to build roofs. You don't actually have to do the peaked roof here. You can just keep it as a normal roof. So if we actually do it on this building here, we can just extend the blocks so they do this. This is perfectly nice as well, if you don't want to attempt to do the peaked roofs, but then it does look a little bit flat here. So then you're left with either keeping the house or the building like that, or actually, if you want to have some kind of depth in the building, you can actually bring out, for example, the pillars here. And we've got because it's a bigger building, I added some dark oak pillars for the outside of the building. But if you take all of this off, it'll give it a little more depth if you have the pillars and have this coming out of the wall one more. But it's quite a lot better if you have the peak here, and the peak we have on this part of the building as well. So I hope you enjoyed that episode, and I will continue doing these little tips. I think next week perhaps will be lighting, or perhaps farms, or gardens, we'll see. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.